extensions of that I want you to start or end your day with, that I want you to treat yourself with or gift to friends. And then you say, well, now you're in my home. So what are the other hospitality and hostess pieces I want you to be able to share? And we move from the kitchen into a much broader space.
You have big ambitions for As Ever.
I do.
I hope so.
Yeah.
I mean, because I think there's so few people that can actually create truly global brands, and so why wouldn't you? Why wouldn't you take that opportunity? I mean, I certainly would.
Yeah, I think it's also playful to be able to have fun in the exploration of what it could be. You can stay small.
Well, the world's your oyster right now. I mean, you started with a few products, but you literally could do anything you want to do. I've been talking to my friends non-stop about our summer plans and all of the incredible places we plan to visit while on vacation. And it got me thinking, I've talked a lot on this show about building wealth in creative ways. But did you know you could actually make some extra income while on vacation? I just learned about Airbnb's co-host network, and it is genius. If you've ever thought about hosting but felt a little overwhelmed, a co-host can actually handle everything for you. We're talking creating your listing, managing reservations, messaging guests, and even taking care of the place while you're away. They can also help with your styling too, so your space looks exactly how you'd want it. I love the idea of having someone local who really knows the area, keeping things running smoothly while I'm off enjoying the countryside. If you've been curious about hosting, now is the time. You can find a co-host at airbnb.com/host. People see the brands now, the polish, the growth, the headlines, but that's not where it began. It was back home in London with a sketchbook full of ideas, a couple of rough prototypes, and a ton of what ifs. When I launched my first brand, I didn't have a big team or a background in tech. I had a clear mission and I had Shopify. From day one, it gave me the tools to look like a fully formed brand without the overwhelm. I didn't need custom code or a designer on speed dial, just beautiful templates and tools that actually made sense. And as my brand grew, Shopify kept growing with me. We could manage online sales, pop-ups, social channels, all in one place. Even now, I open the app every day, multiple times a day, and instantly see who's shopping, what's trending, and where they're buying from. We run Skims and Good American on Shopify because we trust it to power our businesses. From launch day to scale mode, Shopify just gets it. Whether you're testing a new idea or building the next big thing, Shopify is where you start. Visit shopify.com/aspire to launch your brand. Many small businesses begin with a simple goal, turning a passion into a profession. But what often goes unrecognized is how many roles business owners actually take on, especially when it comes to marketing. It's one of the hardest things to get right. That's why there's Constant Contact. Constant Contact's award-winning marketing platform helps make marketing easier, faster, and more effective without requiring a background in marketing. From email and text to social media, events, and landing pages, everything is managed in one place. The AI content generator helps turn basic ideas into full campaigns, and hundreds of customizable templates make it easy to stay on brand. The platform includes automated sending, real-time reporting, and tools built to actually drive sales. So marketing efforts aren't just maintained, they contribute to real growth. Pricing is transparent and based on the size of your contact list with no hidden costs. And with a 97% deliverability rate, messages go where they're supposed to. Plus, live phone support is included with every plan. That's why over 500,000 small businesses rely on Constant Contact to stay connected and competitive. Get a free 30-day trial when you go to constantcontact.com. Try Constant Contact free for 30 days at constantcontact.com. Is there any part of you that feels any sense of imposter syndrome? Do you ever sit back and get overwhelmed by how big the opportunity is and then, pedal back from anything that might be?
I don't. I think I have. I think that I've
Hi
always had a
guys.
very entrepreneurial spirit, as we talked about, but equally, I enjoy being in a position of having a strong team around me, being able to help guide that team as a whole. And I've also, in the adventures of my life, I've certainly navigated through things that can in some ways feel bigger.
Yeah.
So this for me is just another chapter that I think is full of I'm a very curious person, new learns. I love learning something new all the time. I don't feel imposter syndrome. I feel like I'm exactly where I'm supposed to be right now.
I'm really happy you said that. I mean, I do think I speak to so many founders, and more often than not, they feel some sense of imposter syndrome. And I have so many women that will say to me, "Didn't you feel or don't you feel imposter syndrome?" And my answer is always no. I'm like, if not you, then who? Like, why would you feel that way, right? I feel like to some extent, we're all making up as we go along. And even when you get a lot of experience and you've done, multiple startups like I have, nothing is the same because you're never doing it in the same time, in the same culture, with the same people.
Yes, and even if you're making it up as you go along, as you say, which I think true, most people are doing that. Imposter syndrome is when you're posturing as though you know everything. You don't need to posture as though you know everything. It is perfectly okay for me as the founder and the owner of this company to say, sorry, what does that mean? Yes. Can you help me understand that? And actually, I think it's a really great posture to take, or a truth rather, to take as a leader, to show that, yes, I know what I know, but I'm also so excited to have people on this team that know more about certain avenues than I do, because we're learning from each other. That's
so
not
long as you
imposter
find the
syndrome.
people, right? It's
Find
like
great
you just got to find great people and get out of their way. And I really believe in that because I think that as a founder, knowing what you don't know is so important. Like
and being
know
honest
your
about
brain
it.
out. Yes,
Be
yes.
honest about it. It's okay to not know everything.
Yeah.
That's part of the beauty of it. I can see that in the culture that you've created around here. You have an incredible team. You take care of your team. That is all reflected in your success because it takes a village. It really does.
It takes a village every damn day. Every day. All day, every single day. And what does your team look like these days? Because you do so many things and you've got a lot happening. Do you work with the same team and then things get farmed out, or is it very, very separate, each and every little thing you do between, the show and, your philanthropic efforts and then the brand now?
Yes, well, I have a small and mighty team for my office. And then I think obviously our foundation is independent of that, but those are the same executive directors we've had for a very long time who run it beautifully. And then you look at with Netflix, they have an entire team that they've devoted to this project specifically, being as ever. Separate team for With Love Megan, that's a group of about 80 people.
It's a lot of people.
It's a lot of people.
That's a lot of
So
people.
there's a lot of different teams, and at the same time, my core team that sits around me for all of the projects is, very, very strong, savvy women.
Mm-hmm. Your perfect domain is out there. Go to Wix and make it yours. Claim your space online. Own your name, your brand, your brand. So talk to me a little bit about the launch, because I thought it was very, very well executed, but you basically sold out of everything in about 45 minutes. Listen, I can't get you on that one because I don't know a business that I've had where, a couple of hours in, every single thing has been gone.
Everything.
But it comes with a lot, right? That comes with this, of course, you end up kind of fueling that idea of scarcity in your business, which is a great thing. It's never terrible to disappoint customers, but there's the flip side of it. And I remember when I started Good American, by, I don't know, the third hour, I was starting to pick up the phone and email customers. What did you do and how did you feel when everything was gone?
Well,
Or I should ask you, was it planned? I mean, did you plan to actually?
No.
Okay.
It was a
Hello,
beautiful surprise.
Maria.
I had a feeling there would be a lot of interest. And we planned for that. We didn't plan for everything selling out in under an hour. And so watching those metrics happen in real time, I set my alarm for the exact moment we were going to go live, and watching it, getting texts from my friends saying, it's already sold out. And then it was amazing. And also, to your point, because I'm business-minded, I'm immediately going, okay, well, this is going to be a big pivot. Now what? Because I knew that I had a decision to make, which came down to, what is our timeline to be able to restock these products that we had? Well, we can restock what we had at those same quantities, but then I'll have another sellout. And I don't want that for people. I think scarcity is great if it happens organically at the onset, but at a certain point, even being consumer-minded, I would be fatigued if that kept happening and I was going to a website. So I said, okay, let's take this opportunity to grow, to have exponentially more SKUs as well as more inventory. And that's what we've been doing. We went right back to making sure we could scale up to that level.
Yes.
And have the quality meet the quantity, which was very key. And then if we have that opportunity of more time, the luxury of that is, the products that have been in development that were going to be punted to this quarter, to pull this into this next launch.
Right, there's
Because
decisions
that'd
to
be
be
great.
made. Yeah.
There's decisions to be made, and like, what can our offering be at this point that is larger than what sold out in that first run. So as a seasonal drop, I think that was really important to say, let's get it back, but let's get it back in a much bigger way, which is what we've been
Those
working
are
towards.
really important decisions because you have to decide, and I'm guessing that you're learning all the time about reputation management, your
Yes.
customers, supply chain. Like, how are you thinking about those things? Because they are all such big decisions in the beginning for any founder. Like,
Yeah.
you're the one that needs to decide how you're showing up for customers every day.
It comes with a lot of pressure because when that call comes down to you, when I have to make that call, you don't know if it's going to be the right call. You just have to trust your gut. And that's ultimately what it goes back to. I say, if I was the person that waited so long to get that product, do I want to second go around not be able to get the product? Or do I want to be able to buy it and share it with all my friends? So I'm constantly putting myself in the mindset of someone who's supported me for a long time and want to be able to get it, or the 15-year-old girl who's saved up her money to be able to buy a couple of the offerings that we have. But it does come with pressure, and all you can do is make the best decision with the information that you have, and that's what I've been doing. And it's trust, and again, to trust your gut. I think that's so key.
It is key.
Yeah.
It is key. And it's hard to do, especially in the beginning when you don't have much information to go on. I think the number one thing that you have to do is, again, like you said, put yourself in the position of your customers and just listen to your intuition.
Yes.
It will never serve you. So at least not in my experience.
Yes, well, and also trying to make sure you have all the metrics and all the learns that you can, but when everything sells out in 45 minutes, you don't
You have
necessarily
nothing.
get the same
You have
learns. You're like, okay,
Yeah.
so now as we
Minute
scale
number
up,
5, this was tracking. Yeah, it tells you nothing. It's hard to learn from your business when it's like that. But really good problems to have.
good problems to have, champagne problems as they call them,
Absolutely,
and
they are.
you know, the world is learning with me in real time. We're learning together.
There are so many comparisons right now, right? It's like people are saying you're the next Martha Stewart, you're the next Gwyneth Paltrow. So 2 questions. How do you feel about that? But also, what's going to set this brand apart? Because you're in a very, very different time right now. It's a different culture. I think consumers are super, super wise. So, you know, I want to ask you those 2 things. How do you feel about it?
I think that's very flattering. Those are incredibly successful businesswomen. So I don't take that lightly. That means
Oh,
there's
bless
nothing
me.
personal in that regard. And I also think it was really important to me. I remember where I came from, right? So I knew that I wanted things to be reflected in the same way that I put an outfit together for years, high-low. I knew I wanted this brand to be masstige. And to come out of the gate with something luxury didn't make sense to me. So the price point itself, with nearly everything being under $20, was key. I think that's a differentiator. Never sacrificing on quality. Being engaging in a customer service manner, I think, is really important. But also, you know, the show reflects the spirit of what I ultimately want to put out in the world. And though they're not the same thing, and by design, look, the show and the brand are not named the same thing.
Smart, by the way.
Whoa.
What's that?
I just built a budgeting app in Base 44.
Guys,
Nina just built an app.
Impossible. You can get code. Interesting. Can it generate reports?
You can now.
So you're saying we can all build apps now?
Yeah.
I'm on lunch. I gotta make more money now. Just built an inventory tracker. Protein calculator. Book there an app.
No, they're just not. They complement each other. They can talk in the same conversation, but they are not the same. And so knowing that I have a vehicle to be able to share the things that I love to do, and then a place where you can go and buy them if you don't want to necessarily put them on your own, feels like a very smart way to do the full and complete storytelling of what I'm after. So, you know, I feel flattered by the comparisons, and I feel excited that I'm sharing things that are important to me and how I would do things in my own home, and that I hope people translate that to theirs as well.
no doubt. Given that
I like the no
ambition-
doubt.
No,
I love it.
that's great. I mean, I really do. I watched the show. I feel like
Did you make
very
anything?
clear. I did not make anything. I'm not gonna
Do you
lie.
cook?
I am such a cook, like such a cook. But I cook. You know, it's like I don't have a lot of time to cook.
Yes,
but
I
I take
understand.
time off. Like Thanksgiving, the 3 days running up to Thanksgiving, I cook the 3 days
Do you
straight.
do
And I
Thanksgiving now?
do the whole, like literally, it might be. It's for me, it's like Christmas practice.
But it's also like it's like a Sunday roast in the UK.
Exactly. So I'm an absolute expert of it. But I do like, like an English American mashup. So it's like, I do Yorkshire pudding. I do like a Yorkshire pudding, and I do a roast potato. But of course, I do, like sweet potato pie, and I do like the greens and a ham and those type of things. But I don't get to cook nearly as much as I want. But I look at you and I feel like it feels like you're getting so much joy out of this. But it's an interesting thing when it's something that you love so much, but there's also huge ambition around it. And I wonder, when you think about the way you set up this partnership, is that structure going to work for you as you go forward? Do you think there's a time when you're going to have to go out and raise capital?
Potentially. It depends on what we want the growth trajectory to look like. But I think, and all the contracts and logistics surrounding it have really set up what the future can look like together. And being mindful of the movements of that. There are a lot of surprises still with the series that we'll be able to share later this year. This is season 2 coming. But I think what's really exciting about it is the evolution of the partnership that we've had with Netflix for so many years to now say we're doubling down in the growth of me as an entrepreneur and their support in that chapter. So it's huge. It's great. But yes, as we continue to grow, you might be looking to expand certainly globally. And if there's a raise that's involved in that, then I think we'll be in a really good position to do that.
Yeah, no doubt you will be. I have absolutely no doubt.
Yeah.
When you think about the failure rate for first-time entrepreneurs, does that ever concern you? Have you even let your mind go there?
I do not think about failing. No.
You're not scared of failure.
Is anything actually a failure, ultimately? Because you're going to learn from it no matter what happens. But no, I feel confident in what I've been dreaming up for so long. I feel confident in the partner that I have. And I feel really proud of the team that I have. So that's not an option.
It's not an option.
No.
I love that you say that's not an option, because there's just such an intense narrative around everything that you do. I can't imagine not being a bit scared. Like, I'm always scared when I start something, but nobody's even watching me. Like, I get to fail in a corner on my own
With your glass of wine.
Thank God nobody was watching that. But it's very different for you, and so I'm surprised that you say that.
I'm not saying that there aren't moments where I don't feel scared. Of course you do. But as I've continued to say to myself, and whatever I'm going through, my faith is greater than my fear. I believe in myself. I believe in the team around me. I believe in our potential for success. And is that the same metric that someone else is putting on it? No. For me, it would have been a huge success and not a failure if I was selling my homemade jams at Farmer's Market. And I'd gotten a cottage license. I applied for that in the county of Santa Barbara, where you can literally go and yes, I was like, great, you can make the goods in your home and sell them. That would have been a success for me. So someone else's sense of what that looks like is not necessarily what mine is, and that will continue to grow. But no, I don't see the possibility of failure. Not when you can learn from everything you've done.
The way that you speak about both imposter syndrome and failure, because these are two things that, again, uniquely are in the kind of language of so many female founders. And they're real for so many people, and that's fine. But I do also want to demystify the idea that, like, we have to feel that we have to go around feeling really scared, and we have to believe that this is not a journey for us. And so I wonder what in your life and your history has got you to the point where you can feel that.
Well, I think words matter. And I think certain words and terms become very topical and trendy, and they just become part of the vernacular.
I believe that.
Right? And at a certain point, you go, why do I keep reinforcing this idea? Because it's topical, right? And I ultimately believe the more that you can change your thoughts, you're going to change the things around you.
So you're a big believer in mindset? You have to be.
I think as a female, as any founder, but as a female founder, you have to train your mind to literally be so focused on what your goal is, to be so, as I said in the podcast I was doing, laser focused on what your intention is. There isn't room for a tremendous amount of self-doubt with that. It will be there, but when it appears, you have to train yourself out of it.
You've got to shut it down.
Yeah, and I don't think that it's helpful to indulge some of the language that is going to be self-limiting. I don't think that helps anyone grow. And I don't think being fear-based, yes, being risk-averse, very valuable. Being clear and realistic about the landscape that you're walking into, very helpful. Talking yourself out of it or talking yourself into negative self-talk is not valuable as a founder.
So how have you trained yourself to do that? Do you think that comes from your background as an actress?
Could be. I mean, yeah, you know, when I was an auditioning actress, and this was well before Suits, you have to think, at that time, there were certainly not a lot of mixed race parts.
Really?
No!
Really?
No, there weren't a lot of. If I was going in for an audition, it was either, you have to remember, this was a very different time than it is now. It was Girl Next Door. That was typically blonde haired, blue eyed, in a certain way.
Okay.
But because I'm half white, I would also be submitted for those roles. And then if it was a character that had any sort of ethnicity, there was always a bit of a edge to those characters, but I'd be submitted for those roles. And I also, to a lot of people in casting, they thought I was Latina. So I share that because, and I've shared this before, it was a numbers game. If I'm only up for 10 parts, that could be 10 no's. But if I'm up for 30 parts, because I can fit into so many different rooms, that could be 30 no's. That is a lot to chip away at your self-esteem. That is really hard. And I think so much of that, like I went through my chapter of self-doubt as an auditioning actor and beyond that. And when you're so consumed with what everyone around you thinks of you, that can be a really hard way to live. So I think as I've gotten older, certainly in my 40s and as a mom, you want to set the example for what your children are going to think about themselves. And that you can't have an imposter syndrome around.
No way.
You have to be so authentically the role model and the example of confidence, self-forgiveness, kindness, fun, all of those things. And you can't fake that. You want to model that for them. So all of that really shifted in the past 6 years of becoming a mom for me.
Yeah, no, I really understand that, and I think that you're completely right. Are there practices that you have to tune out self-doubt? Like, are there things that you do in your day?
Oh, I wish I could say that I meditated every day, or no, I don't. And then when I say to someone, like, I don't have time to meditate, they say, well, you should meditate twice as long. And that's really cute that you need to do it twice. I would love to take my own advice and say meditate. I don't. I jump right into things. I will always phone a friend when I'm having moments, and I'm very fortunate to have a lot of female friends that are founders who have been through some version.
Are you calling on them?
Of course. I'm so lucky in that regard. Oh my gosh, guess what just happened? Like, that's totally normal, Meg. Totally normal. Just power through it. So talking to someone who's been through it and is on the other side of it with tremendous success is valuable, to get a mentor. But no, I mean, I try to hike. I try to connect with outdoors. I definitely make time for my children. I make time for date nights. I make time for balance, to perspective. You can be so in the weeds of building a business, but you have got to find a moment to look up and see that there's a lot more going on around you than just that. You have to. Otherwise, I think your judgment is skewed.
There's nothing I love more than an early morning workout, and after that, I'm a girl that is always looking for her next protein fix. But I need it to feel like a treat and not a chore. And here's the thing, even if I'm not crushing an ultra-disciplined morning routine, I still want to fuel my body in a way that feels good. That's where Kachava comes in. I started drinking their whole body milkshakes a few months ago, and I was honestly shocked at how good they taste. The chocolate flavor, it's like a treat, but packed with 25 grams of plant-based protein, 26 vitamins and minerals, and 6 grams of fiber. I'm talking matcha root, chia seeds, goji berries, the list goes on. I usually blend mine with almond milk, a frozen banana, and a spoonful of peanut butter. It takes less than a minute to make, and I'm full and focused for hours. It's my go-to breakfast on busy mornings, or a quick lunch when I'm running between meetings. It's not just a shake, it's legit nourishment that fits my real life. Fuel your day with Kachava. Go to kachava.com and use code ASPIRE for 15% off your next order. That's Kachava, KACHAVA.com. Code ASPIRE for 15% off. There's this idea out there that being a man means having all the answers, never cracking, always being the strong one. But the reality, that's a heavy burden to carry, and no one should have to do it alone. Struggling doesn't mean you're weak, it means you're human. Talking to someone can make a huge difference. Therapy gives you a safe space to say what's really on your mind, to learn how to cope in healthier ways, and to show up better for yourself and the people around you. Even if you've never tried therapy before, it's worth exploring. BetterHelp makes getting started simple. They've got over 35,000 licensed therapists and have already helped more than 5 million people. It's all online, so you can connect on your schedule, and you can switch therapists at any time if you want to try someone new. As the largest online therapy provider in the world, BetterHelp can provide access to mental health professionals with a diverse variety of expertise. Talk it out with BetterHelp. Our listeners get 10% off their first month at betterhelp.com/aspire. That's BetterHelp, HELP.com/aspire. You've just realised your business needed to hire someone yesterday. How can you find amazing candidates fast? Easy. Just use Indeed. When it comes to hiring, Indeed is all you need. Stop struggling to get your job post seen on other job sites. Indeed sponsored jobs help you stand out and hire fast. Your job jumps to the top of the page so the right people see it right away. And it really works. According to Indeed data, sponsored jobs posted directly on Indeed get 45% more applications than non-sponsored ones. One of the things I love about Indeed is that it makes hiring so fast because you can post, screen, and interview all in one place. When I was hiring last year, I was juggling 3 platforms. It was slow and honestly kind of chaotic. I wish I'd used Indeed. Plus, there are no monthly fees or long-term contracts. You only pay for results. And get this, in the time I've been talking, 23 hires were made on Indeed worldwide. Join the 3.5 million businesses already hiring great talent with Indeed. There's no need to wait any longer. Speed up your hiring right now with Indeed. And listeners of this show will get a $75 sponsored job credit to get your jobs more visibility at Indeed.com/aspire. Just go to Indeed.com/aspire right now and support our show by saying you heard about Indeed on this podcast. Indeed.com/aspire. Terms and conditions apply. Hiring? Indeed is all you need. Do you think that there are skills that you got from your days as an actress that are transferable into this new entrepreneurial world that you're in?
Of course. I mean, again, having a thick skin, partnerships and the value of, having great relationships when you're building certainly lots of different SKUs is key. And so a piece of advice I was given years ago as an auditioning actress was don't try to book the part, book the room. Meaning it doesn't matter if you don't get that role. You might not be right for it. You might remind the director of an ex-girlfriend that broke his heart. It could be any number of reasons. It's not about the part. You're going to see those producers and those casting directors at so many other opportunities. Book the room. Let them see that you're talented. Let them see you have something to bring to the table. Treat them with kindness. All of those relationships end up coming to fruition. You don't know when. But just like with life, relationships matter. So I learned that in the very long road of auditioning, for sure.
Do you ever miss acting?
Sometimes. But actually having a large team, being back on set with Love Megan was great because I realized how much I had missed my crew. I loved being around a crew.
It must be hard to let that go.
Yeah, that was different. And also it was such a unique time because we couldn't say that I was leaving necessarily. It was speculated. So after 7 years on the series, we couldn't have a going away party. I couldn't say my goodbyes.
Oh, that's so sad.
I know. So, my crew's watching. I miss the guys. I wish I could say
Oh,
goodbye.
do you miss them? You must do.
Oh yeah, we worked with people
You're
for
like a
7
family.
years.
Yeah.
For 7 years, it's a really
Totally.
strong connection, and I love the crew. So I think for me, having the series, even though it wasn't scripted, was really great to get that piece back. But then also building my own business, you have a team, and that's really what I was craving as well.
Yeah, no, I can imagine that. I wanted to ask you a little bit about the public narrative, because when you sign up to be an actress, you know that people are going to start recognizing you, they're going to start speaking to you on the street, but that's very different from what you have now.
It
which
is, Emma.
It's very different. No shit. I wonder, and listen, I want to say this to you in the best way, because I wonder if you could rewrite your public narrative from scratch.
Sure.
Is there anything that you would do differently?
Yes, I would ask people to tell the truth.
You're very measured about it. I mean, I feel like, I don't know, I'm such a hothead.
Are you? What's your sign?
I'm a Libra, but
Oh,
I know, and it's
Libras.
like, I don't know. I don't know. Maybe I'm just a bit, ghetto with it, a little bit hood. I would just get so angry if I felt like everyone was lying about me all the time. Like, don't you ever feel like just being like, just leave me alone, like let me show you? Is there a part of you that ever is just like, just leave me alone?
Sea Dance 2.0 is now on Artlist, and you can get precisely what you want.
I'll take a robbery with a fight scene on the side.
It's a robbery!
And if you have it, I'd like the robbers to be Yakuza.
It's a robbery!
For the main character, an anti-hero, a bit rough around the edges, and maybe some dark humor. Yeah, make it a little funny, please.
And you? Just the alien invasion, please.
Here we go again. Just wanted to have this nasty coffee in peace.
Light it up, pedal to the metal. We're gonna take it to a whole nother level tonight.
Peaks and valleys. You know? No, I mean, like,
Very elegant.
but it's true. Of course, I've gone through those chapters and did a lot of work. Did a lot of self-work and go, what's the why? It's happening for a reason. And my dear friend Serena, I'm sure you know,
I love Serena. She's like my girl crush. Talk about successful entrepreneur.
oh yeah, she speaks so well. She
She's
said to me,
I mean, she's literally, it's amazing that she can have like that type of career and then this type of business career. I don't even know that people fully have grasped like how successful she is.
but also translating knowledge from the court and being dedicated and
All the things.
to another avenue. It doesn't mean that you have to stay in one lane for your whole life. It means that you can translate those skills somewhere else. That's probably part of the magic. But she told me years ago, a lie can't live forever. 8 years is a long time, but not forever.
So how do you walk the line between owning your own narrative and feeding the frenzy? Because again, when you have a business, you need to go out and promote it. You need to go and do, whatever it is that you might need to do. Speak to the media, turn up at a retailer convention, like whatever it might be. So how for you are you able to toe the line?
I think it's a fine line, but it's also setting up boundaries, which I would say to anyone, no matter what you're going through, what your experience has been. You set boundaries of where you're comfortable, and it's okay to say no. It's okay to say I'm not comfortable answering that. It's okay to pivot and to really get to the place where you don't feel as though you have to explain yourself. And I think that comes with time, maturity, work, support surrounding you. But also to be authentic. I don't think there's any value either in being so rehearsed and just having your talking points and just saying the thing. No, just talk.
It's just not the time for it. I think that there is an element of where we are in culture right now that, like it or loathe it, we crave authenticity. Like we want those people that we believe, rightly or wrongly, are telling us the truth. And
Yes.
so I feel like there is no point in having rehearsed lines and a narrative that is like, fully, written out that isn't your own. You have to be authentic.
Let's be authentic. Did you see my baby mama dance?
I mean, stop it. First of all, can I just tell you the timing of that? We maybe watched it like 20 times yesterday, and I was like, is that her?
Oh my
Is that Prince Harry there with the fingers and I was like, okay, good on Harry, let's go.
But I think it's
But that's you, right? Like that's you in a way that we kind of haven't been able to see you before. And I did like a little secret cheer because I was like, well, that's what I kind of want to see from you. Like I want to see that happiness and that honesty and that I don't give a fuck.
But also, by the way, that wasn't yesterday. That was 4 years ago. So it's also a really great reminder that with all the noise or whatever people do, there's still a whole life, a real, authentic, fun life that's happening behind the scenes. I'm just grateful that now, being back on social as well, I have a place where I can share it on my own terms.
On your own terms, and that's really, really important. You've really embraced social media. Do you enjoy it, or does it feel like a bit of a drag?
No, it doesn't feel like a drag. It feels liberating. I have to look again. What was my intention? I came back, started the account in January of this year.
Was it only January?
Yeah,
Oh,
the last time I was on social, Boomerang was around.
oh Lord.
It's been a minute. There was no stories. All of it's new. There were no gadgets. Or you could have the little tripod that I'm sitting. You should see me sitting there trying to figure with a magnet on it. I was like,
Things.
okay.
Yes.
And figuring I don't have key lights and all. I don't have all this business yet. But I don't know if you need it. I think if part of it is just being able to authentically share in real time the things that are happening that I think someone might be able to laugh with or enjoy or be inspired by, then I want to do that in a way that feels like I can still have my hands on it and not be overproduced.
But are you thinking about it in the way that so many of us do as also a business tool?
Not for personal account.
Really?
For my personal account?
Yeah.
No.
Well, that's the one we're all following.
Well, good. That's
a lot
something
you're
that we're
following
like as ever
Just
too.
dropped.
No, I think for me it was a great way to get my voice back.
Yeah, you have to.
Get my voice back.
1,000,000%.
Yeah, and that's really it's my space and my channel for joy. That is the intention of my handle.
Well, I think that your voice carries such unbelievable influence. I remember a time where you were like, step out with a sweater, the sweater would sell out. It's crazy. Like, how do you feel about that? Was that part of the reason for you starting a brand? Like, have you been able to reconcile the fact that you have that type of influence? And I wonder how you think about, you know, that as it relates to your advocacy work, that as it relates to your business ventures, because it's a lot. It's a lot to carry around.
Well, it's funny because that's been now for several years, that effect. And again, I think my feelings surrounding it have ebbed and flowed because I say imitation is the best form of flattery. And at the same time, you start to watch how it's being monetized at such a huge level globally, oftentimes not giving credit to the brands and the designers who actually made those pieces. So it was that fine line between, well, do you want to spoon feed who the brands and the designers are, and then it feels promotional, when I have no skin in the game in any of those arrangements, and at the same time, do you want people to mislabel it? Because when I didn't feel as though I had as much of an opportunity to speak, well, what can you say with what you're wearing? You can say a lot.
Quite a lot.
You can say a lot. And so being able to support, especially female-founded designers, small local brands, any territories we would go to on certain tours, I always tried to tap into local designers to really see their business just do so well as a result, or how many people they could help, or how much they could give back, or
And you were saying you were purposeful with that.
of course, and there's intention. And so I think in moments where I found I wasn't as empowered with my voice, I still wanted to be able to be heard in other ways. I still wanted women to know that I was supporting them. I still wanted people to feel like even if I didn't get an uplift from that they did. And in some ways that actually did uplift me because I went, oh my gosh, like there was a company, they made jeans and they would help women.
Was it Good American?
No. You weren't around then. But they made jeans and they gave the positions and the rules to women who would have been trafficked. And they took them off the streets and they put them into this labor force to be able to have a well-paying job where they were well taken care of. To be able to help that company and get letters from those founders saying, we were able to help save 25 women because of you wearing these jeans, that is a huge privilege of influence, and I never took that lightly. So I think, had I chosen to just maximize the opportunity of the financial element of having a business, doing fashion would have been very obvious, as we talked about. But I wanted to go with what my heart was really responding to in this moment.
Was there ever a time when the influence you had actually really surprised you?
At the beginning, of course. At the
What is happening here?
What is going on?
But I put a sweater around my shoulder.
I mean, yeah, wild. But you have to think too. The 7 years before that on Suits, that was a very fashion-driven show, and people loved Rachel Zane's wardrobe, which I was very, very involved with because I wanted it to look like a capsule that a real woman would wear, mix and match. And I was one of the only characters that really wore pieces. But that was by design. So I knew that there was influence there, but yes, it certainly got bigger.
It really got bigger.
Got bigger. Bigger.
Are you comfortable with that?
I have to be. It's my life.
Yeah. You get comfortable, basically.
You get comfortable. You have to be an acceptance of what is.
Yeah, no, completely. But I also think it's really amazing that you can participate in that now because after a while, it can, I think it's wonderful and it's great that everybody can gain from it. But I do think that there is a time and a place in your life where you need to have some skin in the game. You need to have a piece of that for yourself.
Yes, and I think what was so wild, maybe the surprise came in when anything that my children were wearing started to get monetized and affiliate sales and part of headlines and things. That's where it became a little uncomfortable.
Yeah.
But at the same time, it when it comes from a place of love and excitement, very, very different.
It's very different.
Yeah, then you can be happy about it and say, of course, have the same dress that Lily has. It's when it comes from a different side, but that's true of most things in life.
So with Archwell, you built this ecosystem of philanthropy, storytelling. You know, it feels like, you've now got the commerce and the brand piece attached.
Yes.
So, it really is. It's like an empire that you're building, like a media and commerce empire. And I wonder if you thought about it in the sense of having real guiding principles for what you will be involved in, what you allow yourselves to get involved in. Was that a part of your, was it part of what you were thinking about as you started bringing all these things together?
There was a lot of, again, flying the plane while you're still building it, but always at its origin, being so value aligned with what my husband and I believe in. And that's where it started. It started when we moved out here and building the foundation. But, as things expanded and certainly talking about what sort of content we want to put out, what sort of documentaries we want to make, what stories we want to tell, those expanded under the Archwell universe with the production company. And, building out in my own office, my brand and my business has felt really exciting and different. They all still are value aligned. When my husband and I, we think about investments that we make, or certainly my own personal portfolio, is it value aligned? Is it mission driven? Is it purpose driven? And that can run the gamut. Some of the investments that I started to make in women and female founded companies started with things as simple as, what is the meaningful impact that a beautiful latte that you can make at home will have? It sounds so silly, but when it's adaptogens and it's good for you, like with Clever, I was really proud to be her first investor. And it was my very first investment also, so I learned quite a bit there. On the flip side of that, you look at a company like MIDI, which is women talking about perimenopause and menopause, and that is a chapter of their lives that's making a very meaningful impact for a lot of women. I look at who's on the cap table, and Melinda Gates is one that's there, and I look at whose company I'm going to be in as I support these brands, as I'm sure you do too.
Well, I wanted to ask you about that because I feel like investing is so different from everything else. And I wonder, it's very clear to me that you've got a lot of principles around who you're backing. But is there anything else that you're like, are you out there specifically looking at things coming to you? How do you think about that side of your business?
Both. I'm looking at what comes through organically, not just through the people that can help put the portfolio together, but friends that are in VC, female founders that you're sort of tracking and saying, what are they up to next? Really interested in fintech. I also, I think financial literacy for young women especially is just so important. And so from my standpoint, not leaning away from things like that might not be as trendy or topical to talk about, but they are vital. So I look at things where that's going to move the needle for young women in their education and what they can have access to and feel a lot of growth from in a substantive way. And at the same time, where can you find some fun and playfulness? Where can you take some bets and say, it's not just about the brand. When I think about investments, it's about the founder as well. I really need to believe in the people that are.
Staying late again? Yep, got prospect calls to summarize. You really need to switch to Monday CRM. Your old CRM is holding you back. My CRM is not old, it's vintage. Do you want to see my sales? Just a minute, it's loading. Well, Monday CRM's AI features automatically summarize my calls. So,
that are driving
So
that.
important.
It's so important. And I watched your episode of Shark Tank, and it's really like that critical thinking that has to come in when you are talking about real capital that you're going to put up for someone else's dream. You have to entrust that they are going to bring that dream to reality responsibly.
Yes, well, this is also your money.
It's not monopoly money.
Right?
It is not. This is
Exactly.
not monopoly
Yes.
money. This is real.
Yes.
And it really, I think, changes how you explore. You can have an incredible concept in front of you, but if you don't really firmly trust and have incredible confidence in the people that are running it and have brought that vision to life, it's not going to work. So there have been a lot of opportunities that I've had to say no to based on that. And at the same time, that there's so much creativity out there that I want to find the person and the people that are working quietly behind the scenes and then help maximize that for them and put a huge spotlight on that for them to see them go and change their family's life.
And it really is about changing their family's life. I mean, when I think about investing, that's why I was asking you about your principles. You know, I have like a pretty impressive deal flow at this point in my career.
I bet you do.
But I'm really trying to look for those people, and I think this came from all those, you know, couple of seasons that I did on Shark Tank. But I'm always looking for people that I don't think would get the funding elsewhere, because I've been in those rooms. It wasn't so long ago when I was trying to raise money for businesses myself, and really getting the feeling that I'm walking out here with nothing. Like, these people don't understand what I'm doing. They don't understand me. I don't sound like they want me to sound. Like, it's just, I don't have the educational background. But at some point when you don't have anything behind you, it's very, very difficult. And so for me, it's always about finding these founders that I think they are not going to be able to walk into a room and walk out with the check. And so when you think about investment principles, are there reasons? Because again, there's such a thread running through everything that you're doing right now. And is this following that same type of trajectory of everything else that you've got going on?
I think everything that I'm working on is an extension of me. It's an extension of my personal taste. It's an extension of my values. It's an extension of how I like to show up in the room, right? And ultimately, I really value thoughtfulness. I really value attention to detail. And I've said playfulness a lot, but I think that seriousness in business and playfulness do not need to be mutually exclusive. I value that as well. You see that in the series, you see that in the podcast, and certainly in the brand. Not everything can be so earnest. You can have something that's best in class, incredible quality, thoughtful in its design, but with a little cheek.
Yeah.
And a little wink. And
Would you ever do something just for the money if you thought this is gonna kill? This is gonna be an amazing business.
I have turned down a lot of opportunities that do not feel value aligned. No, it's very easy to say no, no matter the price. If you aren't going to be able to sleep well at night, don't sacrifice
Totally.
that. No,
But hopefully you
way.
can find, some investments that let you sleep well at night and make lots of money. Is that a page in your playbook? 100%. Okay, so we can talk about that. I've got those and I've got those.
Yeah, no, at the moment, it's all in this one
I
way.
love that. No, but that's really, it's interesting because I think we all come at these things from, a very different background. And when I think about putting my money to work, to me, it literally feels like that. It's like, I want that money to work. And there's a piece of what I do that is very firmly sits over here. And it's for those people I don't think would get funding. And there's another piece of it that is just purely opportunistic. And I say that without apologizing. It's like, I make this money and I need this money to work for me. It's like I've got things to do.
Yeah, well, and it's also very refreshing to hear a woman in business say that. Because I think often what happens is we are trained as young girls to not talk about money. We are trained as young girls that it's very gauche to talk about finances, but that's a part of life.
Well, that's what keeps us out of making all the money. Fair. This is it, right? Because the minute you don't speak about something, it's just like for years when women didn't talk about, their own sexual pleasure. Well, guess what? Like, they missed out on a lot of fun times, and it's exactly the same with money. But it is, I don't think of those things as any more different. It's like if you elegantly avoid the subject of money, you will find that the money somehow elegantly avoids you. And so I talk about
Or
it all the
inelegantly.
time. I'm like,
Yeah.
do you know what I mean? Or
Yeah.
like just blatantly. So we
Yes.
have to be able to speak about money. We have to be able to, articulate what we need and what our value is, because those two things are inextricably linked. If we're not talking about it, we ain't gonna get it.
Yes, and you have no shame in talking about it.
There's
You know,
nothing
to not
shameful
cower
about
as you're talking about it. Do you know Melody Hobson?
Oh,
The Dream.
first of all, I love Melody so much. She was my second guest on the podcast.
Oh my gosh, I didn't realize
Oh,
that.
I love
Melody.
I love her so much. And I mean, her episode was amazing because, Melody's, she's all about the finance. Like, that's her career. That's
Completely.
what she is so knowledgeable about. And she speaks about it in such an elegant way that that's her whole life. She's not shying away from having those conversations.
Of course not. She and I did an episode of Deal Book together years ago. And I must have, years ago, because I just had Lily. And I think it's just so empowering to hear a woman, and especially a woman of color, stand in the truth and
The way you see an idea in your mind.
the knowing that she does not need to shy away from a conversation that a man would comfortably have. And ultimately, especially as moms and as working moms, you want that to be part of the modeling that you do for your daughter and your son. But for your daughter, I think it's pivotal for them to understand that they cannot be afraid of those conversations. You're only selling yourself short.
You're only selling yourself short. Do you have, I mean, your kids are really little, one are a bit older. Do you have conversations with your kids about money? Like, how are you even beginning to think about that type of stuff?
Well, we sometimes do a little farmer's market stand. So we have,
That's so American. I love that. Like a little lemonade stand just makes me feel like that is like perfect Americana in Montecito with a farm stand.
but we do,
How
we
beautiful.
grow a lot of veggies, and part of what I want them
go and sell these.
part of what I want them to learn is, and gardening is really, really so great for children because it teaches them patience, teaches them to value and appreciate their food. So you start from seed and you watch it grow and they wait. But with that, it's like, now do you want to sell your harvest? And do you want to share it with our community? And also, what do you want to do with those funds once you have them? So really starting to understand accounting and numbers and all of those things, that there's a cost and a price for things.
Yes.
And I think that's key for children to understand that, especially children who are very lucky to have a home that has privilege. You need to know that, just like manners, and taking care of the things around you, there is a value on things. And in our life, for my husband and I, it's really important that they understand the value of things.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. I mean, Melody wrote the book on it actually for all of the kids, so it's a great one. It's just such a beautiful book.
Yes.
Switching gear, I want to talk about your podcast, Confessions of a Female Founder.
It's fun.
It's so fun. I mean, it is really, really fun. But the whole idea of that podcast is that you are spotlighting female entrepreneurs, right?
Yes.
And I just want to ask you, I mean, why that show and why right now?
It was perfect synergy. Think about the timing of that.
No, I was like, she's going to school. This is what's happening.
Think about the timing of that. I was so fortunate to find Lemonade. I loved that it was a female-founded company that was doing podcasts, and the women running it, incredible. They actually just had an acquisition. I'm proud of them.
Good for them.
Stephanie and Jess, good job, ladies. And, knowing that it was in a safe place where we could have these conversations when it came to, what do we want to talk about? What do I want this podcast to be? As I knew I was in this building phase of my business, what an amazing opportunity to pull back the curtain and let people see what's happening at the start. At the start, when all the twists and turns are there. And, for me to have the opportunity to talk to so many female founders who've been on that full trajectory, that are on the other side of success, still certain chapters in their career and their growth, but to be able to be really candid and vulnerable personally about my learns and stumbles along the way, and to then take everyone's advice, and mine included, and to say, I love that there's so much excitement and desire for another season, but I need to focus on my business.
So you've done, how many episodes did you do?
We did 8 and a bonus episode. So Tina Knowles came on to do the last one.
Oh, Tina, that's a
Miss
good
Tina.
one.
Yeah.
That's such a good one.
Nature
Okay,
art.
so wait a minute, but this was a decision to say, okay, I'm going to stop this now because you were having like huge success. I mean, I
Yes.
was hearing about that podcast everywhere, and you've decided I'm going to stop and focus on the business. Nice.
Have to, because at a certain point, I was thinking about this morning.
You're like, this is too much.
Well,
That's what I was thinking this morning.
People seem to forget that very rarely do people see everything that's happening behind the scenes. I could show a small glimpse of that. But equally, yes, I wrapped season 1 of my Netflix series. Still had to promote it. Still had to be in the edits for season 2. We were in pre-production of one season while we were doing post-production of the other. It's constant. I just wrapped edits on season 2 of With Love Megan last week. So it's still ongoing while also doing the podcast, while also building my business. And at a certain point, the only thing I want spread thin is my jam. Okay? And I think I realized, wow, I'm using this opportunity to share, and I love that, but I also need to use this opportunity to listen. I have very valuable insight coming from women who've been through this before. And if I'm not going to take the cue that we are teaching people, what's the point? So does it mean it won't come back? No. But I would love to bring the show back when I am at a different end of my founder journey. When I've gone through Q4 and say, here are my proof points. Here's this. Wow, what a year it's been. Or even longer than that. I think a different time would be so exciting just to be able to compare and contrast. But yeah, I know people want another one. I just made a choice to say it's a really good time to put all of my energy into the thing that I'm building.
But I think that focus is an absolute necessity.
Yes.
Right, like just doubling down and being excellent at what you're trying to do is just one of the most simple and powerful things that you can do in business. Like just giving everything to one thing. And it's so difficult when you have so much opportunity, right? When seemingly everything's coming at you and you know, it's like you're the hot girl that's out there and you have a lot of opportunity. It's hard to say, no, I'm going to put this thing first. Were there things from the podcast that you have taken like straight into your business?
Imagine being able to build anything just by thinking about it. Meet Base 44, a complete AI creation platform.
Yes, again, this idea, and we talked about that earlier, that someone else's urgency is not my urgency. Most of the women that I spoke to are working moms, and this is such a big deal. Yes, and this is such a key age. I don't want to miss a moment for my children. And I love that I can do drop off and pick up at school and do meetings in between and go to Disneyland for 2 days, as we just did, and volunteer to serve hot lunch at school or be the chaperone for the kindergarten field trip.
So good. You're making me look so bad.
No, stop that.
I never volunteer.
Well, you can start.
No, I cannot. I don't want to.
Well, then you're listening.
But this is, and I think that this is a really important point because people often say to me, Emma, like, is it bad that I go and drop my kids every day? Is it bad that I want to volunteer? I'm like, no, you have to do what you want to do.
What feels right
You
for
have
you.
to do the thing that makes your heart sing in the morning. For me, it's like, I don't want to volunteer, so I don't. But there's lots of other things that for me are just non-negotiables, right? It's like, I like to put my kids' outfits together. I'm crazy about their packed lunches. Now, I don't pack them, but it's like, I know what's in every lunch every day because that's just the type of person I am.
I
So you
love
have to
packing
choose.
the lunchbox.
You do?
Yes,
Oh,
that's right.
Stop it, Megan. No, you don't. Do you
Yes,
do?
I do.
Lisa, do you like make shapes and like make it look all beautiful? Is it a sprinkle situation we put in?
Sometimes. I
My
love
kids are all going to move into your house.
No, stop. But look, to your point, like that sounds ridiculous, but I love it. At the end of a long day, the kids are down to bed at like seven-ish, then go downstairs, have a glass of wine, and doing their little lunch. But I find joy in it for whatever reason.
And it can be therapeutic.
Yes. So that for me is one of my simple pleasures. So I'm like, oh my gosh, that works for me. What works for you works for you. But I think with all of the projects I had going at the same time and how much the valuation that I put on time with my family
Yes.
is so high.
It's critical.
It matters so much to both my husband and I that I just wouldn't trade that for anything. And so I think it's really important to have that conversation with yourself, especially if you're ambitious, to say all of these things are exciting to me and I can do all of them well enough. But can you do all of them exceptionally well? Probably not. Something is going to not get the same love and attention that it needs. And so to be able to say, what's my focus right now? My family always and growing as ever. And to be able to be so committed to those two things fills my cup in a very different way. Because there's time for the rest of it.
Yeah, there's going to be time.
Yeah.
There's nothing in you, though, that's like, it's like this little thing over here that I could possibly do. Because I struggle with that. I love starting new projects. And a new project for me is like very, very, very hard to turn down.
Yeah.
So, and again, I say the same thing to you. It's like when you have so much opportunity, it must be difficult to just go like, that's not priority.
I mean, I love the creation stage. So, yes, now that I can see with more dedicated focus on the brand, knowing our trajectory, looking at the business plan, being able to pinpoint where these key moments are going to be, I can say, as this continues to grow to where I want to see it. Next. It's really key, I think, to keep your creative juices flowing, and that doesn't go anywhere. And I think a lot of that is what I'm excited about for the next phase.
What's the common thread as you were going through Confessions of a Female Founder? What do you think the common thread was with the entrepreneurs that you interviewed in terms of like successful founders, the way they think about strategy? Did you find anything that you were like, oh, have this?
they all, no matter their background, they all were incredibly focused. They all have regrets. They all have regrets. Most of them regretting not spending more time with their family, or taking things personally. A lot of them talk about that. You know,
Do you do that?
taking things personally. Yeah, of course, I'm human. And that can be really hard. So you can do all the practices and things that you want to do, but at the end of the day, you're still human. You're still going to cry. You're still going to take something to heart, especially if you poured so much of yourself into it. You know, when I want the jam spread thin, I mean spread thin on toast, right? I mean, I want everything that I'm thinking about that I have poured my heart and soul into. It's not just jam. Could I just go and make a preserve somewhere and stick my name on it? Of course. Not what I wanted to do. So I love that it was winning all these blind taste tests, and I love that people loved, oh, I was making out of my kitchen. That's how you feel here at my house. Thank you. It works. And so if there's some hiccup along the way that doesn't land in the same way, even within a small internal team, on how it's tracking, I go, well, okay, oof, all right, I was really excited about it, but let's think about how we can make this something that really works at scale.
Save time creating content and generate a high-quality clone of your voice with 11 Labs. Change the way you record podcasts, voiceovers, and branded content with the #1 AI-powered voice-generating technology. Stop searching for the perfect voice and stop wasting time re-recording take after take. Try 11 Labs for free and start.
Because I don't want this to be but yes, taking things personally is a human reaction.
Yeah, you know, it's so interesting because the more I am doing this podcast, and it's interesting because it seems to be just the men. They talk about how much fun they have, like in the deal, in the failure, but like they're just like that's fun to me. Like not like in the I'm having fun doing my business day to day, like the hard stuff and how fun that is.
Wow.
And I think that to me, it has, it's just so interesting because as women, we tend to take things so much more personally. And that means when things don't go well, or when you have those inevitable failures, or when, you know, like whatever, like it doesn't, you have a bad drop, you have a bad product, you have something that kind of, you know, shit hits the fan, whatever it is, that becomes about us. And I feel like I've trained myself to say, like, that's not me, that's that thing, right? It's like that thing didn't work. It's not like I didn't
That's
work,
good advice.
I couldn't make it happen. And it just struck me somewhat, like the couple of men that have been on this podcast, and I've made a point to make sure that I have a lot of men here because I think we have so much to learn from all of these very, very successful men. And that mindset to me really struck me because I was like, well, you're having fun and you are definitely not taking these failures as your own. It's just
You're like,
on to
I'm
the next
crying in
one.
the corner, and you're
Right,
having a
it's like,
toast
you're
and
just like moving up,
delivering.
having toast and jam, like they're just getting on with it. And I thought that there's a real distinction in that somehow.
Yeah.
That you know, it's not about them. They can easily just say like this was something that happened.
I think inherently, probably just listening to what you're saying, as women, and maybe that's part of that conditioning from when we're young, we're more people pleasing as well. So in leadership, you want everyone to like you.
Yeah, you can't be a people pleaser and a leader.
Well, yeah, and you know, no, and I think ultimately one of the biggest lessons that you can learn, no matter if it's in high school, because it will still feel big, or in a high profile position, or just as a business leader, no, there's not a single person in the world that everyone's going to like. So the goal cannot be that everyone likes you. The goal can be that everyone respects you. And as a woman, to make peace with that, I think can be a life's work, frankly. But the moment that that can click, and that you prove it to anyone. You're not trying to prove something to everybody anymore. That you're very clear on who you are. You know your intention is pure and good. That you can release a lot of that attachment and ultimately be much more successful, because many men would not be tethered to this idea of needing everyone to like them.
Yeah, no, it's a really, really important point. You speak a lot about financial literacy, and I know that you're interested in that space from an investment point of view. What's your own relationship to money like? Because that is one of the things that really evolves the older that you get. And so I wonder what that feels like now as you enter this new journey as a founder.
I think my background really informs this. I grew up clipping coupons. I was always money conscious, always looking for a sale, right? In high school, college, always finding the promo code. I still go on Retail Me Not before I buy something online to see if there's a promo code, even if it's free shipping. I'm just ingrained and wired in that way. And then as an auditioning actor, you never know when your next paycheck is coming.
Mm-hmm.
So you're very, very mindful of spending. And so I've been very financially responsible for a long time. And I've applied that in a lot of ways where, yes, even if there is incredible capital to be able to work with to build the brand, I still want to make fiscally wise decisions that are in the best interest of the brand. I'm not frivolous in spending.
It's not in you.
It's not in me. No, it's not in me. And so I think that is part of the learning when you have a large partner as well, that there's more comfort in numbers going out the door. Whereas I would go, well, hold on a minute.
Wait a minute.
Hold on a minute. I have a friend
I don't do Netflix money.
No, like, I have a friend that can do that. What's the quote on that? And
I think that's a great way for you to approach it, though. I mean,
Yeah.
that feels so responsible and exactly as you should be running a startup. Because,
Yeah.
again, I think there was a time that we were all feeling very, very different in businesses, like just chasing growth and, trying to get as big as possible. But it feels to me like what you're trying to build isn't necessarily about that. You have a distinct product and a distinct offering that you're putting out into the world, and so you have to tinker with that. You have to get it just right, and you have to do things that you're really proud of.
Yes, incredibly proud of. And also when you're not trying to be trend driven, there's a rush to jump on a trend. There is no rush if you're working towards something that could ultimately and hopefully become a heritage brand.
Yes.
When you're looking for what is like my personal aesthetic, I find it to be classic, timeless. There is a reason that I'm sure there was puff sleeves were cool and trendy for a moment. I didn't catch
weren't
that
doing
trend.
that.
I wasn't doing that.
You were still in your white button
I
down.
was still in my crisp white button down and jeans. And so, when I look at the brand through that same lens,
Monday CRM is so intuitive, I think it just hurt my mind. Again, get out of my head, Monday CRM. Did I log in my calls? Are we in the Stone Age? AI does all that for me. Oh, you spent 20 minutes writing an email? Took me like 4 seconds. AI summarized a 2-hour meeting while I was eating a sandwich. Makes me look so good, I'll be your boss soon. Have you seen my sales backstory? I've never felt more seen than I have with this CRM. It actually gets me. Monday CRM. Is there something you can't customize? If the company offboarded Monday CRM, I'd pay for it out of my own pocket. For real. No, you shut up about it. I don't need to be your friend. AI will be my friend. Better friend you'll ever be. What? Another deal one? Oh, Monday CRM? Stop it.
I think it's really important to say then there isn't the same sense of urgency and rush, because you're not trying to meet a moment, you're trying to meet something that can be evergreen.
Yeah, you're doing something that's that's classic and has tradition, and like you said, it's an evergreen proposition that's just going to keep growing and growing.
Yes.
Sounds like it'll be a wonderful business.
Thank you.
A business for the long term. What are you most proud of in your career when you think about everything that you've done today?
In my career,
Yeah.
my
Or in your career and your business life, if you like.
investing in myself. I'd spent so many years since we came over here, really, even prior to that, investing in the success of other women and their companies. And I love being able to do that as we talk about fashion. and I love being able to have a portfolio, female founders. But I do think it takes a little bit of courage to bet on yourself, and that's felt really good.
Yeah, it really does. It really, really does. What's the most surprising thing that you've learned about yourself as you've been, like, in this brand building moment of your life?
That I can bounce back pretty easily, because you can have the best laid plans for your brand, and if you are too attached to it, when you do have to pivot, that can be crushing. And to learn that, as I was saying earlier, to dance. Okay, let's take a minute, get our footing, and dance over here.
Yeah.
Let's twirl over there. So I think, similar to what you're saying about men in business, being able to find the playfulness and joy in it, even though the stakes are high, just really try to have fun in all of it.
It's a great muscle to try and train yourself,
Yeah.
like, to get there.
Yeah, to be playful in it.
Who are your idols? I'm obsessed with Oprah, so if you could tell her for me, please.
I'll tell her.
Yeah, thank you.
Do you know her? You met her?
Oh, come on.
Have you met her?
Yeah, I met her once.
Okay.
Like, very recent.
How'd it go?
I'm so annoyed with myself. I don't even know why I'm telling this story. So I know Gail really well.
She's
And
great.
I'm at, like, DVF has an Oscar luncheon. I'm feeling good. It's like I've had a hard week, but I was feeling good. I look good. And I see Gail, and next to Gail is Oprah. And I'm like, she doesn't lip read me. So I run up to Gail.
Okay.
And I'm like, you have to introduce me to Oprah. And by this point, she's gone far. She's gone up the hill. And so Gail screams Oprah! And I'm like, oh my God. And so everybody, the whole party turns to look at me. Oprah's walking towards me. And in my head, I've been preparing for this conversation my whole life. I have sunglasses on. I don't take the sunglasses off. I sweat profusely. She's holding my hand, and I don't even remember what I said. And I was like, oh no, that wasn't my Oprah moment. That wasn't it. But
You'll have
that
another
for me,
moment.
No, there'll be listen,
Yes.
I'm 100% sure. I'm channeling her into me. I know I'll have another
You come up
moment.
to Montecito for lunch, we can plan a lunch.
Oh my God,
That'd be
I've just
fun, and you can
scored
plan
myself a
all the
date.
things
That's it.
that
We
you
can
want.
finish the podcast now. Bye. But is there anyone that gives you the Oprah sweats like I got? Or maybe not the sweats, just someone that you admire or you just find so intriguing or whatever it might be.
Oh gosh, there's so many people in business, male and female. We talked about Melanie Hobson. I admire her so much. Her business acumen. I think there are probably too many to count, and a lot of it also comes down to there are going to be people that are so well known, and then they're close friends that value their privacy in a different way. That I want to say their names so badly right now, but one of my idols is my very best friend. She's the godmother to our children. I love how she carries herself in business. I think she is just a remarkable human being. So it's important to say that the idols that exist on a very large scale, there's value there without question. But you can sometimes look at the people that are right in front of you and see them as idols as well.
Yeah. Listen, life gets really good when you are like that with your idols, when they're in your life.
Yeah.
And that's something that you can say with honesty. I think that's pretty impressive, actually. I really do. Looking ahead, what audacious goal
Oh, I
do you
think
have
I'm
that
tired
you are,
now.
looking forward to and is
I think I'm gonna
on your
continue
bucket?
tomorrow.
Goodness.
I'm tired. I'm going to bed.
The scale of this business, I don't know if that's an
Let's
audacious
pull
goal.
that out
Yes,
so I
that's
don't lose it.
audacious.
I think so.
I'll take that. Okay.
It's
Yeah,
almost,
yes,
she's
I'll take
almost
that. And
done.
then what comes after that?
What does
Just
come after?
need,
Do you know what you want to be doing?
it's almost done. You can, not pretty
Not
much, just
exactly,
this
but
little
probably
patch
in the
here.
wheelhouse of what it could be.
And
I
I'll
think
finish
you
that
work with
tomorrow.
really strong
And you
creative
can't
people.
actually
I
see
wanted
it
to
right
tap
now, but I'm not
into
going to leave it like
the
that. I'll
audience and the
cover
demographics
it.
with me in that
And
present moment.
here she
And so this
is.
is one chapter. Life has many chapters.
So guys, I'll see you tomorrow. Thank you for watching, and bye bye.